I love the energy. Here's da and da. Pretty good. Listen to just the ladies on da and da. The altos are cranking out a lot of volume. It's kind of low. Let's go a little less alto, a little more soprano. Split the difference and da. Perfect. Let's add everything else in and good. Just a little more foundation because in this chord, basses, you're the root. Here's the next chord. Same voicing and da. Very good. One more. Da again and da. Just the men ones and da. Basses, you're just a little under that pitch, but you came up, which is good. Here's everybody. Da and da. Version. So this is the same kind of chord, but now it's a different version. So basses were on the root, now you're on the third. So here's that chord on da. This is where you are most of the time basses. Here's your E. In most of Lauridsen, you're a lot of times on the third, which means you're going to be high and light. So here's the basses, tenors, you're the root. Here's the ninth and the third. Here we go, and da. Perfect. Basses, that's excellent. Tenors and altos. Let's hear your dissonance together. Good. Your ears are starting to change it. That's the idea. Is I want to do these enough times that you can hear that chord and go, you know what instinctively you have to do to make that chord great. Here's everybody. Gorgeous. Let's do one more. Perfect on the bass. For the first read through. You're good? That will not quite do. Let's try that again. So you got to anticipate. If you look at what's going on there, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 directions of tempo. So that's for Nancy and I. Your job is to do what? Look up. You got to look up and be ready that there's a little bit of retard going into A, but I don't do much of that. So when we start letter A, it's back to A tempo. And if you look at the only A tempo measure we've had was measure 3. So almost no one will know what A tempo is. So that means we've got to really set that tempo. For right now, how about everybody at letter A on the melody? And let's talk about a few things. So here's everybody on the melody. Let's do the measure before so we can use that. Here's the measure before A. And. Sure on this shining night of starry shadows long, kindness must watch for me this time. So a couple things. This applies mostly to the men because they're going to sing the melody before the rest of us. But look at the bottom of the first page, the last measure. When you look at that spot right there, you're going to see there's a poco retard. It only happens that time. So men, I think what we want to do, and ladies, when you're singing this with us, take your time and set up the word ground. It's the lowest note in the melody, and it's the first time we hear it from the audience standpoint. That's the first thing. The second thing is this. Take a look at the second measure of page 2. I've changed a little bit the way I'm doing this. So right now we'll do ba, 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 night. Now watch how short the next one is. This shine. Ba, ba. It's just an eighth note. I think we kind of have just morphed into last week almost a quarter. It's so long. So I'll give you just something little. This shine. And then you're just right off on the money there. All right, let's do everybody again from the measure before A. So that's kind of, we're talking about that little retard, and see if we can line up that little this shining with one S. Here's one bar. that night. So it's so easy on a long note to let that diphthong turn early. Stay on it longer than you did. The other thing is now we have this shine. It's so short now, it's kind of like I'm scaring the death out of you. So we got to get vocally ready for that. You have an octave jump, so that means you got to wait a little bit more on the lowest note and lighten up on the highest note. Let's add one other thing to this. The word of, I think we're trying to throw it away too much. Sure on this shining night, blah, blah, we just throw it away. Let's think about really singing a vowel on that. Sure on this shining night of starmate. So it really has a line to it. It gets kind of thrown away, and I think we're losing the clarity of the pitch and also the word. Let's try it right again. One before A. Everybody.
Sure on this shining night of starry shadows.
Right in. So how many people know that part by memory? Everybody, right? No need to look down there. You don't need it. All right, so this time look up, and let's just make music on it. You got the right idea. We have 1 million repeated notes. 1 million repeated notes. And so the problem with repeated notes is you don't have a musical line, but you can't sing that line without musicality. So the important thing is if you've got one note, you got to make music with that one note. It's going to be harder, but you got to do it. Sure on this shining night of star-made shadows run. I've said 1 million times, the text is super important. So really bring the text out all the way through. Here's one bar again. Add text to it, and ready, breathe.
Sure on this shining night of starry shadows round, kindness must watch for me this side the ground. On this shining night, this
Let's do that little wacky pick up to page 2 on this shining. The trick is to keep that vowel consistent all the way through all those skips, because what happens is sometimes every skip has a different vowel. We want to try to unify that. So let's do the pick up to page 2 on this and.
On this
Case where I think looking at the page, you know the melody, looking at the page makes it harder to do what you're trying to do. So I wouldn't look at it. I don't even look at that because I do the same thing. I get even little hitches in my giddy up as well. So just keep it really, really tall, vertical, and try not to let the highest notes jump out. Here's on this, and go.
On this
much better. Let's do it again. The only one that's popping out is that highest D flat. That one. Try to do what you can to get some air under it. Think about the exercise you did in the warm-up and get some better airflow. That'll help. Same thing. And go.
On this
Let's add one thing to what you're doing. First off, that was really beautiful. Very well done. I think you can still do a little bit better job of just touching that highest D flat, but that we're making progress. The other one is the shine pops out a lot. I would love it to have the same character we're doing, but add to that more crescendo. But not loud to start with. So start it softer, add that crescendo like you're doing, but just start a little bit softer. And then we talked about it later in the piece. There's an 8th rest in measure 14. That's one of those rests that can't be observed, it has to be performed. So that rest is there for a sense of wonder, and we can't just take it as matter of fact. Let's go back one more time before letter A, and then we'll set you off to your devices. Here's one before A again, one last time with everybody. Sing one long line.
On this shining night of starry shadows round, kindness must watch for me this side of
now move ahead.
On this
Bum, where's your bum, bum, beep, bop, beep, bop, beep, bop. It's pretty quick. If you hear recordings of Morten and Lauridsen on it, you'll go, oh, Morten, slow down a little bit, but it's quick. So keep it moving, and when you come in, that breath has to be in the rhythm of the piece. It can't be behind the beat. Here's the top of the page. Just feel the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and beautiful, gorgeous. Ladies. On the word stars, Rick Heyman, how would someone from Boston say that?
The stars.
Stars. Let's hear that. Everybody go to Boston for one word, please. Here's star. You're laughing, but you got the point. That's great. Beautiful. Let's go back to bottom of 6. Just tenors and sopranos one time, and I weep for wondering. Sopranos, beautiful job at just touching the D flat. Here's tenor soprano. 3 and...
I wait for wonder, wandering far alone.
Good. We need a little bit more crystalline sound from the sopranos, just a little bit more. Tenors, even though it's mezzo piano, because of the way it's voiced, you can be mezzo piano plus, but we all have to get to a beautiful O vowel. Here's the same thing, soprano, tenor, and go.
I wait for wonder, wandering far alone.
You know how a spider spins a web and it just kind of effortlessly comes out? That's what we need from this. I wait for wonder. I don't even know if I care about the words. I just want to hear this beautiful little consonants, but not interrupting the sound of this beautiful web being woven. Here's the same thing.
I wait for wonder, wandering far alone.
Beautiful. Now just make sure we're together and we got it made. That was beautiful, guys. Ready and up.
I wait for wonder, wandering far alone.
Don't watch my mouth, but watch my hands. Ready and
I wait for wonder, wandering far alone.
good. So just be right there. Good. That's had everybody in there. And on shadows on the stars, you know the way to think about it is this. We're going to create a sense of wonder on stars. But the way we're going to do it is we are going to stretch that so much on bum, ba, ba, which means if you're holding a dotted quarter, we need you to energize through that. And now what I hear is a lack of confidence because you're like, I don't know where the heck that went. You know, I just know you're not confident. So just think, ba, ba, ba. We all do the together. I'll lead you into that. But just take your time to that. Here's everybody. I weep for wonder. Sopranos, the D flat's getting a little punchy again. Just be subtle about it. 3 and up. Beautiful. Finish the word. Have a seat, have a seat. Very nice. Basses, you do I think whatever you're doing at letter E, you're dynamic. I don't care if it's 3-piece, 5-piece, 10-piece, whatever it is, I love it. That's the right idea. Sopranos balance to what they're doing. They lead us in with a very nice hushed sound, which I think is the softest we can sing. and still maintain a good sound. But when we come in, it's too strong. Yep.
We're losing the piano on this side of the room.
Oh, when it gets soft, we're losing you a little bit. Okay, here is, let's do I Weep for Wonder one more time. It wouldn't hurt. Almost had On the Stars. I noticed a couple, if you did the same thing. On. You're looking at me, and then for the, you're down. I was like, oh, missed you. All right, here's I Weep for Wandering. That was gorgeous. Ready? And go.
I weep for wandering,
Finish the word. Piece to pick to choreograph to ballet, because why? We can't count it, we have the music. They're trying to, you know, it's all rubato, it's all changing. There's no tempo per se, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure they can't tell where it is. Because we don't want to go, et lux perpetua, we want to go, et lux perpetua luceade. Make it as hard as you can on those dancers. They're pros. So that's one of the things we have to kind of think about to keep through it. But that's one of the hard things for the dancers, is that they're trying to choreograph something very free and very organic. And that's what the challenge is. And for us, we don't want to show the bar lines. So let's don't see the bar lines. Try to forget they're there. They're there, but just so we know where to put everything. Here's everybody on bass. Just work on the melody. And see if you can take the bar lines out. We don't want to hear any bar lines. Ready? And go. Let's stand and do that, because it's awfully high for almost everybody. That was the right idea. On the page turn, and everything we're doing, just apply to your own part when it comes. But like on the page turn, top of 6 downbeat, I would put a tenuto over that, because the tendency is to sing it too short. So wherever that is for you, so that means like sopranos, measure 49 on that D, put a tenuto over there, or say cut off on 2, but that's super important. And then I would do this. When you go for your big moment, go for it. I don't really care what the vowel is as long as it's open. Open. Whatever makes it work. But make sure it's beautiful. Here we go. Let's same thing again. I didn't hear bar lines. Beautiful. Here we go. Ready? And go. Great things about that. So you're on the way to something magical. I would give you one other correction, or not correction, an addition. Measure 50. We've got to get that high and in tune. What happens is you're so grateful you did beautiful things the beat before, we kind of lose that. Did you notice downbeat of page 6? Did you notice how many of us gave up early? That's the spot. All right, here we go. Last time, all together, and then we'll put it in parts. And go. Excellent. Let's do it from letter B as in boy. Everybody in your own part now. So where you ended up is going to be fine. That's probably a little overly forte, but who cares? But you can get away with it if you start mezzo piano. If you start mezzo piano and let it grow, no one will care. All right, here we go. Here's letter B.